welcome back to Northwest Bushcraft. First of all, my apologies, I'm right next to a major road here, so it's quite noisy, so hopefully you can hear me. Anyway, I've come out today for a bit of a bimble, and I've been lucky enough to come across St George's Day mushrooms. Now, they're exactly a month late today, in fact. They should have been out on the 23rd of April, so can we see that as a litmus test for how the rest of the year is going to go in terms of foraging and wildlife? I guess only time will tell. Anyway, let's have a closer look at the mushroom, and I'll try and point out some key identifying features for you, okay? But please, 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 always be careful when you're foraging for fungi. Always consult an expert. Check, double check, triple check all the time, okay? You'll only ever make a mistake once with the wrong mushroom. So anyway, that being said, let's have a look and we'll try and point out some key features for you. Okay, so here's the mushroom itself. This is the St George's Day mushroom. Now, for those of you that are into the Latin names of things, the Latin name for this particular one is the Calocybe gambosa. Generally speaking, these tend to form in rings, and actually where this one's found, I gathered quite a few from here last year, and it did form quite a large sort of fungal ring. And as you get closer in, you can see it's kind of like a sort of khaki brown colour, and it tends to have sort of quite a pitted top to it because the slugs like getting to these ones. Now, the only fungi that can be confused with this is a member of what's called the Calocybe family, or it's also the red staining Calocybe actually is the proper name for the one that can be confused with this. Now, I'll show you some key features in this to actually help you avoid any confusion. Okay, so the mushroom itself, as I said, tends to grow in quite large rings around here. Now this one, see if we can cut at the base. Now here's a tip really when you're collecting fungi: never ever just rip them out of the ground, because you tend to damage the mycelium, and then that'll be it for the rest of the year. So let's cut the stipe or the stem. Now see underneath, before the YouTube police come chasing me, I am carrying this outdoors, but this is a legally modified sub 3-inch sword peasant knife, so before anybody has a go at me, it's perfectly legal, this knife. Okay, so anyway, this is the St George's Day mushroom, and as you can see, I'll get a bit closer in for you. So underneath we have gills rather than pores, and as you can see now, the red staining Calocybe, which is the only thing that really can be confused with this, because it grows in the same habitat, which is sort of grass fields and verges. If you were to rub the gills and break the stem, it tends to go quite a strong red colour, sometimes a bit yellow, but more often than not it's red, hence the name red staining Calocybe. But as you can see, there's been no colour change in this at all, so that's one of the first indicators that everything's okay. The second thing is the smell. It's got quite a strong mealy sort of flowery smell to this, whereas the red staining Calocybe tends to have more of a sort of strong fruity, sometimes acrid, sort of off orange taste to it as well that I've noticed. Another key identifying feature to this is this sort of wavy margin to it. The red staining Calocybe tends to be more round than it will split along itself, and has a much thinner stem. I mean, you can see this is probably about as thick as my finger. This stem may be getting on for as thick as my thumb as it gets older. And I said the edge tends to get quite wavy in the end. And so on the top you have this sort of brown, sort of khaki colour. And so these are absolutely superb tasting mushrooms, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that's the St George's Day mushroom. They are starting to come up now, so we've had some good weather here, so it's not, I guess it's kind of reminiscent when you look at it from the top of the Blutis edulus, the penny bun. It's that same sort of similar colour, but as I said, underneath it does have gills, true gills, whereas the Blutis edulus has pores underneath, the penny bun has pores underneath. But as you can see, I've been having to go at this. There's absolutely no red staining whatsoever on this, no yellow staining at all. It's absolutely fine. Okay, and this is a really tasty fungus to eat. Okay, so that's the St George's Day mushroom. I'll do a few more shots because there are a few growing in rings around here, but this one's destined now for a bacon sandwich. Okay, another important identifying feature with this mushroom, as you can see, there's no webbing at all underneath here. It's got a clean, crisp edge to it, slightly curly, so it's dipping in here, but there's no webbing at all underneath here. There's a fairly dangerous mushroom called the webcap, and it tends to form what does look like it's like a fine veil or like a cobweb over the top. Also, the stipe or the stem itself is completely free. There's no skirt or anything hanging off of this. Often a lot of the Amanita species have this kind of almost like a sort of skin-like skirt that hangs off, but again it's completely clear underneath. Cream gills. So that's another key identifying feature. Make sure that underneath is completely clean. There's no webbing or attached skirt on here. Do you know what? I can't stand cows.